So I got questions for you. Help me out. Right, wrong, or indifferent, because I'm going to share all my failings. How were you as a firefighter taught to measure heat, to know when it was too hot? Tell me, what were you taught? Feel it on your ears. Describe the feeling on your ears for me. What were you feeling, or what did they say to wait for? Not just pain, but what did it feel like? Tingling and stinging sensations. Remember that, please, as we move forward. What else were you taught? How about this? Psst, pencil to ceiling, it comes back down, I'm good. Really? If it doesn't come back down, what temperature do you think it is? What temperature does water convert to steam? So you're telling me that it's at least 212. We're not dying in saunas, ladies and gentlemen. What if there's no ceiling? What if he's got a 2.5 with an 1 3/16 tip and lets it eat? Water's going to come back down. What if you've got a little ultra high pressure booster line and just go, psh, water's not going to come back down? Is that an empirical way to test temperature? We'll address that. How about my personal favorite? Take your glove off and stick your hand up in the smoke. That was in a textbook in 2016. Anyone that tells you to use your body as a thermometer to see how hot it is, the next time your child or your grandchild walks towards a hot stove, please let them touch it, because that's what you're teaching firefighters to do, to measure temperature. You should let them get hurt before they realize how hot it is. Do you know what our risk management and workers' comp claim people would do to a recruit that spent 26 weeks being taught to keep his gear on, and then he or she goes to a station where a veteran firefighter tells him or her to peel their glove back or take their glove off and stick their hand up into a 1,000-degree flow path and receive a critical burn? They will deny their workers' comp claim and send them home. And their bills will be on them, because you took off your city-issued safety equipment and experienced an injury and then blamed the department. And the department never told you to do that. Does that sound like a good idea? No. So we're going to talk about feeling heat versus seeing heat. Do you want to wait till you feel pain before you attack the fire? Because at that point, the fire has already attacked and saturated your gear and saturated you. Or do you want to start seeing the enemy from long way off and using the reach of your stream? Now, bear with me for a minute. I'm going to get religious a minute. I don't care if you're smoothbore Baptist, pencil and Pentecostal, or combination nozzle Catholic. People get upset about the fog nozzle. But if we put it on a straight stream, could we hit that back wall from here? Could we? Then why are we teaching firefighters to barely open the nozzle, if at all, and then when they get in the fire room, they're right on top of it before they open it? Why? Help me out with that. Alan Brunacini said, God rest his soul, he said, we've raised an entire generation of firefighters who want to kill tigers with pocket knives. How close do you got to be to a tiger to use a pocket knife? Not me, pal. I'm not a big gun guy, but I'd have a 50 cal from way back. Okay? I want you to be a long-range sniper, not a pocket knife assassin. Because look at this max firebox, which you will see today. Light smoke showing. How many times have you ducked and dived under that? What does the inside of that box look like according to that FLIR K55 or 65 in this case? It's at least 900 to 1,200 degrees at the floor. How many times have you crawled across something only to realize, ooh, that was hot? Yet, when you go out with your family and you're going to cross a street, you have the decency and the common sense to look both ways so you don't get run over, right? But yet you won't take a device and look and say, oh, that's bad, I should do something about that, because that's the Mack truck about to hit you. You see where we have a problem? And this problem gets worse. How many of you ever seen this red and white manual here? It's about 20 pages thick. You ever seen one of these? They don't even print them anymore. They put a QR code on them. I'll tell you where you saw it. When's the last time you got brand new turnout gear? What was attached to it? That. You know what that is? The instructions. So have you read this? This is free. You can Google it. Comes with every piece of equipment. You can pull it up, hood, gloves, everything. So let me tell you where this comes from. In that manual, when you said bee stings or stinging, tingling sensation, there's a section in there that says, when you start to experience pain, you are experiencing something known as alarm time. Your body is trying to warn you, you are about to receive a second-degree burn. Do you know where all this came from? My wife and I differ on history. I love history. She's actually taken my daughter to the Holocaust Museum today, and my daughter's into history. And I teach her about historical figures, and she's learned a lot about amazing women in history. And this woman, very few firefighters even know who she is. Her name is Alice Stoll. Any science geeks in the room? You ever heard of Stoll curve? She invented the way to predict a second-degree burn. She had F-4 Phantom pilots from the Navy crashing, and when they were crashing, their uniforms were shrink-wrapping to the pilot, and she wanted to figure out a way to stop heat transfer through fabrics. Does that sound familiar to you at all? Who do you think developed modern PPE based on that work? She did. In order for this to occur, she needed human victims to burn. How many people do you think signed up for that? 269 naval sailors were voluntold to do the thing, and they got a free weekend pass out of it. I'm sure they didn't feel anything after that, but her and her assistant Maria burned them right here on the forearm. And this is what she discovered. At 131 degrees, you receive a second-degree burn in 24 hours. You get a blister if it's direct contact. If that heat source stays there and the temperature increases to 140 degrees, remember this, your pain receptors are turned off. So if you want to fight fire with this, or any other body part, good luck after 140. Because the good Lord says, Andy's not too smart. Fight or flight kicks in, endorphins kick in, pain's turned off. Guess what happens at 162 degrees while I'm still in there, still cooking like a baked potato? Because that's what I am. My skin is destroyed. When you watch this video, I want you to ask yourself, how much protection do you really have in a simple Connex box where all we're doing is walking into a 4x4 room at a college and throw in a couple pallets. Look at his shoulders, 300 to 600 degrees apparent temperature. Look at his helmet. Watch him. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when he turns, you're going to see him wince right there. He went and turned, and the gear right here pushed up against his skin. Why did he go, ow? What happened? His gear was saturated, and then what touched him? All that energy compressed, he killed that airspace, and he got a burn. That ever happened to you? Happened to me. Okay? Here's Miss Alice Stoll. I challenge you to look her up. I actually have her on my YouTube channel. You can see her nursing home videos where she tells some pretty amazing stories. And it tells what she did. And she's responsible for a lot of things you probably currently enjoy that you didn't even realize. Anybody familiar with Nomex? That's her work. Do you know that DuPont owned it and it had to be a 5-letter word that couldn't spell something backwards? The original name of it was Nomelt, and it was going to be Nomel until they spelled it backwards, which meant lemon. So they changed it to Nomex. This is our history, and yet we don't even know how our PPE was designed and what it took to do it.